She deserved every award she got. She deserved all our approbation and our veneration. She was a remarkable, unique gift to the world. And now she's gone, and we've got to cherish her memory.
Losing a unique presence like Dame Maggie Smith is a blow to the world. She understood characters better than most, and she brought a unique blend of comedy and drama to all of them. Keep watching as heartbreaking tributes pour in after Dame Maggie Smith's death. Her life and career. Margaret Natalie Smith was born on the eastern edge of London, December 28, 1934. She began theatre studies at Oxford Playhouse School in 1939, while her father was assigned to wartime duty. She took on the stage name Maggie because there was already a Margaret Smith in the theatre world. Laurence Olivier noticed her and asked her to join him in a 1965 version of Othello. That was her break in the film world. The director wrote her another role in The Lady in the Van. Her film debut came in the 1950s. From then, she became a preeminent British female performer. She won an Oscar for her work in 1969's The Prime of Miss Jean Brodie. 1978's California Suite won her an Oscar as well. California Suite and A Room with a View both won her Golden Globes. These are only a few mentions of her massive award shelf that also includes a BAFTA and a Tony Award. She was an older Wendy in 1991's Hook and Mother Superior in 1992's Sister Act. She also got a chance to do different versions of works inspired by the Bard. She was part of Othello and Richard III and 2011's Shakespeare-inspired animation Romeo and Juliet. She reached a new generation in the 21st century as part of two major franchises. She was both Professor Minerva McGonagall in the Harry Potter films and the Dowager Countess of Grantham in Downton Abbey. Maggie kept acting nearly until her death. She appeared in the 2019 Downton Abbey movie, its sequel in 2022, and 2023's The Miracle Club. Maggie Smith died September 27, 2024. She's survived by sons Christopher and Toby, as well as 5 grandchildren. They announced the news of her death with great sadness, but said she passed away peacefully in the Chelsea and Westminster Hospital. They thanked the hospital staff for taking care of her. They also thanked the world for kind messages of support, but asked for privacy at this time. Harry Potter cast and fan tributes. The stars of the Harry Potter films worked with Maggie for almost all 8 films, if you count the 2-part Deathly Hallows movies separately. That's plenty of time to get to know each other. Maggie never loved working on them. She considered them her pension and chose them only as a way to make money. Her co-stars still have fond memories of what it was like to work with such a legend, most of them at young ages. Daniel Radcliffe, who played Harry Potter, was only a child. They actually met even earlier during his first acting role in David Copperfield. He said,
I knew she was a dame, so do you want me to call you dame? Was like the first words out of my mouth. And she was just immediately charmed. She was like, no, don't be ridiculous, just call me Maggie.
It soothed his nerves and helped him set off on his career. He also said she was a fierce intellect, had a gloriously sharp tongue, could intimidate and charm in the same instant, and was, as everyone will tell you, extremely funny. Emma Watson, who played Hermione, appreciates the opportunity to have worked with Maggie more now that she looks back on it. She appreciates the way she held her own among all the men in the cast. She also calls her real, honest, funny, and self-honoring. Rupert Grint, of course, played Ron Weasley. He shared in an Instagram post that he considers himself, quote, incredibly lucky to have shared a set with the Dame, and particularly lucky to have shared a dance. It wasn't just the actors who wanted to give Maggie a special tribute.
And Harry Potter fans have gathered outside Hogwarts Castle at Universal Studios in Orlando to pay tribute to the late Dame Maggie Smith. Fans raising their wands for the beloved actress who starred as Professor McGonagall in the iconic film franchise.
Downton Abbey cast tributes. The Downton Abbey films were, in a way, an example of art imitating life. Maggie's character gets ill in the 2019 film and dies in the 2022 sequel. Her co-stars in both the show and film had nothing but kind words when the actress died in real life. Dame Harriet Walter praised her range and ability to take on so many different kinds of roles. She says she was an expert at comedy and drama. She added, if she was merely funny or merely tragic, she wouldn't quite have made that sort of impression. Hugh Bonneville played her son on the show. He said, quote, anyone who ever shared a scene with Maggie will attest to her sharp eye, sharp wit, and formidable talent. She was a true legend of her generation, and thankfully will live on in so many magnificent screen performances. Michelle Dockery played Maggie's on-screen granddaughter, Lady Mary Crawley. She said there was no one like her and felt lucky to have known her. She also said her thoughts were with her family. Leslie Nichol had a smaller role in Downton Abbey as the cook, Mrs. Patmore. Her tribute to Maggie wasn't any less heartfelt. She said the entire Downton Abbey group was very close-knit, so losing even one of them was devastating. Maggie was also a favorite of Downton Abbey creator Julian Fellowes. He said,
she could synthesize the character to have all these different aspects. And she was a joy to write for, and I'm very pleased.
A royal tribute. It's not enough that Maggie was made a Dame Commander of the British Empire, the female equivalent of a knight, by Queen Elizabeth II in 1990. She also got a royal tribute after her death from the current ruling monarch. King Charles II and his wife Camilla said, as the curtain comes down on a national treasure, we join all those around the world in remembering with the fondest admiration and affection her many great performances and her warmth and wit that shone through both on and off the stage. Even Prime Minister Keir Starmer had something to say. He also referred to her as a national treasure and said her work will be cherished for generations to come. Maggie's reputation. Maggie was well beloved and also had a reputation for being as no-nonsense behind the camera as she was in front of it. She admitted, quote, it's true I don't tolerate fools, but then they don't tolerate me, so I am spiky. Maybe that's why I'm good at playing spiky elderly ladies. Richard Burton worked with her on The VIPs. He said she didn't just take over scenes, she stole them. He also spoke against her reputation for being difficult. The director Peter Hall said she wasn't, quote, remotely difficult unless she's among idiots. She's very hard on herself, and I don't think she sees any reason why she shouldn't be hard on other people too. Critics praise her impeccable line delivery. Maggie was one of few actresses lucky enough to get praise from critics. Frank Rich was a fan. His New York Times review of Lettuce and Loveridge praised her line delivery. He noted how she could, quote, italicize a line as prosaic as "you have no marmalade" until it sounds like a freshly minted epigram by Coward or Wilde. She became famous for singular famous one-liners. She elevated a line as simple as "this haddock is disgusting" in a 1964 revival of Noel Coward's Hay Fever. The number of one-liners in her most famous roles is almost uncountable. What about when McGonagall asked the main trio,
why is it when something happens, it is always you three?
What about when the Countess said, what is a weekend? She took those simple lines and made them memorable. Other tributes. There weren't many actors or actresses who had worked with Maggie who didn't have something to say after her death. Rob Lowe co-starred with her in Suddenly last summer. He wrote on Twitter that sharing a two-shot was like being paired with a lion. She could eat anyone alive and often did, but funny and great company, and suffered no fools. We will never see another. Godspeed, Miss Smith. Sir Paul McCartney had a chance to meet her in the 1960s. He wrote on Instagram that, quote, her personality was irreverent and fun-loving from the beginning. She was a great person with a wicked sense of humor. Dame Kristen Scott got to work with Maggie in Gosford Park. On the one hand, she took acting seriously and would suffer no nonsense. On the other, quote, she had a sense of humor and wit that could reduce me to a blithering puddle of giggles. Whoopi Goldberg got to work with Maggie on Sister Act. When thinking about doing the third movie in the series, she said, quote,
I want to let Maggie Smith know that I'm holding the part of Mother Superior for you because I just can't do it with anybody but you. So if you need me to come over here and shoot it and do whatever we have to do, we will do whatever you want us to do. But we don't want to do it without you, Maggie.
That never happened, but she's still grateful to have worked with the Dame. Now it's time to hear from you. What's your favorite memory of Maggie Smith? Let us know in the comments section below.